got some rather nice oak flooring from a neighbour, in fact, across the road, and that's going to allow me to do 1, 2, 3 of the inside linings, both these sets of doors and the back doors as well. And I'm having to cut around the window shapes. Oh, plus we got this to consider as well, which I had forgotten about, I have to say. So they're going to be going something like that, so that will all be surrounded, and this one is pretty well done, and I'm just about to go off and glue that one together now.
While Henry does the side hatches and the doors, I'm going to concentrate on finishing the portholes. So the end of the rope needs binding, and I've got some whipping twine to do that. Once they're all bound and nice and tight, then I can tuck each end into a copper fitting, and that will finish them off nicely. So I'm going to tidy up the end of this one now. And I think this is called sailmakers whipping or something like that. So once you've got the hang of it, it's quite easy. You make a loop, you undo this a bit, and you pop it on the back loop. And then you put them back together again, like that. And then you've got your loop on the back, which you need to pull out, and it's got to be able to come over the front at the end, so you leave that out quite a long way. And this cut end also goes up there, and then you have your working end, and that goes around and around, and you pull it tight. These gloves are quite handy for that, because it's quite a hard string. It's called sailmakers twine, and I've bought it in the same colour as the rope, so that it sort of, well, it complements it. You can get different colours, but I didn't really want to highlight the end of it. So keep going round like that. And I'm going to keep doing it until I've got a good inch or so. Okay, so I've got that done as far as I need it. And now you get the loop, and you find the loop is on this one here, and this is the end of it here. So you put the loop over that. Make sure there's no stragglers, and then you get your cut end and you pull it, and that pulls that in nice and tight like that. And then you have your working end and your original cut end, and you bring those down into the middle like that and like that, and you tie them up tight. Okay, that's not going anywhere. I'll do a third one for luck. There's probably better knots, but that'll do. Okay, and then trim that back. And now I want to tidy the end up. So I'm just going to cut the end of it off. These two have got to butt up together, so I haven't got to cut very much off. back and just burn that off. As you can hear, Henry's working hard outside. Okay. That's not going anywhere, so that will go now into the copper tube there, and I'll do the same with this end to make it match. And this is the porthole finished with its little copper tubes on the end. Neat and tidy. We've almost finished the side hatches now. Took quite a long time because we were using some oak flooring which had been given to us, so it meant that Henry had to do a lot of cutting out around the edges to make it all fit. But they're done now and they feel really solid. The other thing is that they have to be removable because whenever we paint the boat, or if we want to check for leaks or anything like that, these windows need to come out, so everything's got to be able to come out at a later date. I decided on a nice pale blue paint. It was left over from my house actually. I was going to go for a teal, which would have been quite a strong colour, but it's so expensive paint and I had a bit of this left over, and actually it's a much better idea, so a bit of serendipity there. On the edges here we've put a nice oak. It's almost a step because we will have to have steps coming up to go out the side hatches, so it sort of made sense to have a sill which could also double up as a step, so we've just oiled that and left it as wood. I've just got to finish the trim now, and then there was a couple more not problems, but things that we have to figure out. So the first thing we've got to figure out is this area up here. There's various ways we could do it, but working with curves always takes a much longer time. So we think we're going to cut ply to go inside, and then another ply circle to go around there. It's just finishing the edges with ply, but we found that the very slim trim that you can buy does bend really well, so that's probably how we'll finish all that off. And then we're doing the doors, so the two doors are in down here, and then we suddenly remembered we've got to have vents in the door. So on a narrowboat you have to have a certain amount of ventilation for your stove and gas appliances. We don't have gas, but we do have a stove, and you have to split the ventilation equally between high and low level. So we have mushroom vents going all down the ceiling of the boat, but we've got to have a couple of vents in there. So before we go too much further, Henry's got to cut some really big holes and put them in here at the stern and again at the bow. So that's probably going to take a little while to sort out, but hopefully we'll be able to get that done by the end of the week and get on to the next job. Just going to see how Henry's getting on with the vent holes.
Right.
So all of that's got to be cut out.
That's it, yeah.
So
Right.
how are you going to do that?
Well, I'm going to drill loads of holes like those ones right in this, then join them up with the jigsaw. So I'll go all the way around that jigsaw in the end.
Okay. Oh, horrible job.
I know. It'd be right. It's just at least I can do it here, and I don't have to be perched up on the side of the boat and weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be right.
Okay. Well, that's it for this week. I'm going to leave Henry cutting holes in the steel, and I'm going to go and get all my trim glued onto the doors, and then next week it's a new job. New week, new job every week. See you soon. Bye.